Hello, welcome to the Lunch and Learn. Let's give another minute or so if anybody else is going to come in, and then we'll just get started. I need like wrestler intro music, but now the question is, what would it be? Huh? Things to brainstorm. But I'll go ahead and kick us off. I know we're a couple minutes in. So, hello, my name is Ashley Wilson. I'm on the pre-sales engineering team as a senior sales engineer. I'll be running this Lunch and Learn today, Thursday, Jan 11th. I just wanted to go through a couple of these oldies and goodies, some favorites here, just to make sure we're all on the same page. In case you missed it, any decisions end of life support. And last but not least, can't miss out. Next product roadmap meeting, usually every other Thursday. So next Thursday is the jam, January 18th. So if you want to see what we have coming up, those are great to attend. We'll make sure to get you that registration link at any rate here. But I see we got a couple of people attending right now, so I'll stop sharing just for a minute. But did you have any questions that you'd like to go over? Or concerns, comments? Otherwise, I could just show you what I've been working on last week or so. Ah, Carter. Sorry, I'm trying to maximize my window here, and I just struggled trying to find that little corner extension piece. Carter, I see you got your hand up, and I see there's a question in chat, so we'll address those in order. But you are allowed to speak, Carter. Go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. Was on yesterday's Lunch and Learn and got some help yesterday, but wasn't able to get that fully implemented. Essentially, what's going on is I'm trying to figure out how to pass a parameter between two pages. So I've got one page that has a list of all case entity instances with a link in the report. And then that link is going to link to a separate page that will open up a dashboard and show all of the details for the case entity. And it's a page with flow run parts displaying a form that shows all of the details nice and pretty.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But haven't been able to get the two pages communicating effectively. I yesterday during the call went over like one page with a report, and you click on it, and that's like a filter action event or whatever, and it updates the URL, and then you can use the page ID to get the URL and update that form on the same page, but wasn't able to get that working within two pages.
So they're two separate pages.
Yes.
And we need them to play nice with each other with these page variables, it sounds like. So
yes.
You have to have the same page variable communicate to both of the pages, but it's only going to one of them. Am I understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Let me think about this.
Or if there's another way to do it without the page variable, happy to explore that as well. Just any way to communicate, hey, this is the link that was clicked from the previous page to the subsequent page.
Like how to capture that variable again.
Yeah.
So page variable is the first place my brain went to. But you're right, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the only thing, but that is what I would be leaning on. It sounds like getting the variable is not the issue. Like it seems like you can at least get it and it works. It's trying to get it to pass that same variable to persist to a different page. So are you like clicking on different links or something like that?
Yes. Okay. I've got a report with a link inside of the report, and that link links to the second page.
So when you've debugged this, what does it show as the variable passing through? Does it show like a null? Does it show anything, or does it show that variable and then it just does not work?
So I don't have the global debugger,
Ah, okay.
so I don't know what's being passed.
I wouldn't, that's because that's what I would want to know is what would be getting passed in between the two. Let me think about this. Give me just a second because I'm
Yeah,
actually
no
just
worries.
on the doc page now for variables. I know that there's a way to have a, I'll just throw this at you because this is just the first thing that came to my mind is that you can have global decisions variables. I'm trying not to say that word too much before it loses all meaning, but there's global decisions variables that you can set. So I'm wondering if when you click the link on the report, you could change what that variable is and then just have the second page refer to that global variable. Because then it could change every time.
Gotcha.
Anytime you
That's what
you would
or even that's Peyton is also pinging me on the chat. And so I could set that up in the data structure as well and just, last click to link and set the page variable to that.
yeah, like have it saved just like in your back pocket or something, like with a data structure with that global variable. That way you can have decisions reference it, even if it changes. Like if you picked a different report or sorry, different record on the report, then that variable would change, and then page two could refer to that changed variable every time. That way it's consistent, right? Um, I would give that a shot.
Would that work with multiple users interacting with the interface at the same time?
Ooh, good point. Let me think about this because you're right. If I came in and then you came in and I clicked one page, I wouldn't want you seeing the page that I clicked, right? I would want to have my own specific. You can have user specific variables like this though, or have it be by the session, like a session variable. Let me see. Let me see if there's a way, because sessions would be the way to the way that I would go about that is like a having Um, I know I'm an eyeing a lot. I'm on the decisions documentation site on the environment variables. So you can share account sessions. I'll just pop it in chat so you know what I'm looking at. This guy right in here. The shared account setting or sessions. Instance, there's instance specific pieces you could have too. So what you could have as a rule that checks what instance are you in. Does this instance have a saved variable or not? If yes, then pass that value through. If it's not in the same session or something like that, then it would have a like some default or just be blank or wait until that person clicks the record or right clicks the record to show the page. Let me see. I don't know why I'm not using Control F. It was made for a reason. Here, shared account sessions. Hmm. I'll also hit up Jared about Jared was who we talked to yesterday about this, yeah, because he was on the
Yeah.
lunch and learn. All right. I'll also ask him what his idea would be, and we could also get back with you on it. I think there's something to this per account or per instance when it's running, because what you could do is have a structure or have a global variable that's specific to the user. So what's this user, like have a table that says, what is this user's variable? And then pass that through, right? Or have a flow that runs every time it's right clicked, what user is signed in, or have like some default case for exception handling as sort of a band-aid right now until we can think of something that could really do that. But I think like a per user session variable that could persist is what we want to do.
And how would I
Um,
save that variable on the action of a clicked link in a table in a report?
when you have a report, if you're making an action on a report, it allows you to make a flow as well. And you could just have it be as part of that same flow. How are you doing that right click action now where it opens like a custom form with those record details?
Right now, the report is set up with a link as a field.
Okay. Yep.
The open URL inline field,
Okay.
and that link is what's clicked.
Got it. I'm going to look up the exact feature that it is now, but in reports, you could run an inline flow. So it would look the same. It just wouldn't be like a URL.
Oh yeah, I've got that
It
one
would,
set up
it
as
would,
well as a test.
yeah, that's what it would be is running that flow. And the first part of that flow would be get user who's logged in. Oh, it's this user. Okay. Well, what do they have a variable saved right now? If so, send it. If not, then have some kind of default like blank thing. Is what I'm thinking of for right now as again, as like a workaround. But what I want to get you the solid answer to, and it might just have to be after this call, but it would be how to get a session specific variable to persist, because to your point about having multiple users, because what we brought up first would work if only one person were doing it, but that's not going to be the case, you know? Would that be okay with you if I got
Yeah,
back to you later?
absolutely.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you. But try that, see if that data structure global variable piece works at least for right now, if at least gets you moving along in the flow until we can come up with the better idea.
Sounds good. How would I set up a user variable on the user's account? Like a custom.
It wouldn't be user specific. It would be it'd be like a global variable. But by default, the flow data, you know how you can get like metadata from the flow and it'll give you when it started, all that. There's also like user specific pieces of that. Like you can get either the specific user that's logged in, you can go down to like the IP address that they're using if you want to really get specific there, or what instance they're using. That's what I had in mind for that. Like put those values in a table and then have it refer to this global variable if it matches or not, or set up a data structure, like a separate data structure that was linked to every user, or if a user ID matches, then this is that variable. And that would just be like a table that you would save, like a database table that you would save. Something really
Okay, yeah,
simple
that
and
makes
small.
sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Peyton, I see your question in here. What is the best way to go about doing batch processing for a large list? I tried using ForEach step chunking tool, but I got an error saying flow stops recursion at 20,000 when I ran it on a list of 50,000. You know, oh, hold on one second. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that we were all good on Carter here. I know that you can actually change what that recursion limit is in the settings. Are we expecting, if you can answer, are you expecting it to be consistently over that 50,000, or is it generally like a range of bigger numbers? It might be AFK, and if that's the case, I'm going to try and look up where that feature would be for each step chunking. Ah, you know, it would help if I could get you to do that, huh? All right, you should
Hey,
have access now. Sorry about that.
no worries. So yeah, it's not always going to be 50,000. I'd say a majority of the time it's going to be 1 or 2,000, but I've seen ones where it's user submitted. It can go up to, I don't know. I'd really not like there to be a limit, but I'd say the largest I've seen is probably like 100,000 all at once.
Yeah,
And
I
so what I'm trying to do in that step is create a batch list of 999 because I'm inserting them into SQL.
mhm.
There's a limit on that of 1,000 at once.
Okay. I know with a lot of these steps, we'll have this sort of ceiling as like a default configuration, but that usually can get changed in the settings. So what I'm looking at right now is where that would be.
Yeah,
Because this
in the
came up
error message-
before. Go ahead, sorry.
in the error message, it did say it can be changed, or I can adjust the property on the flow, but I just don't know where that would be.
All right, yeah, let's take a look. I'm gonna pull up my local really quick and see if we could just eyeball that together, if that's okay with you.
That's for me.
All righty. So I'm gonna do a very contrived version of what you've got. So bear with me. I'm just gonna create a flow like this. We get this chunking step. It was for each, not branch for each, or correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I did for each.
Okay, perfect. So let me see. I don't think I'll be able to recreate this error right away, but what I'm hoping we could do is at least figure out where that configuration is. Output size. Humor me, what have you tried already as far as like adjusting these settings?
In regards to that 20,000 recursion
Yeah,
error,
exactly.
nothing yet.
Okay.
I looked around but didn't see anything
Okay.
that
Just didn't
sounded
want to run
right.
into something that you might have done already and it'd be wrong, you know, but let's
Yeah.
see. So nothing right here. So recursion limit. So it says in the step, but when I remember we addressed this before, it was more on this back end
Yeah.
here.
And
So
by recursion, does it mean just the number of records it's doing it on, or the amount of times it loops? Because it shouldn't be looping 20,000 times.
right. Well, recursion makes me think of how many times it's hitting that step every single time. So it's like hitting it the 20,000 times, iterating for each of the items. Are you saying you just want it to grab the batch of 50K and process it, process it all at once, like not each line individually, or
I just need a way to get um, subset lists that I'm able to insert into SQL.
yeah, that's the way you're doing it is the right way. You give me just a minute. I'm gonna follow my 5-minute rule here. Sometimes these crunchy limiting settings will be in a deeper like admin sort of feature, which I know I would go to look at it. No. Okay. Designers. You'll get lucky here. Version check type. So it's throwing out an error. It makes me think that there's a flow that like another kind of native flow it's checking against. To do that, recursion check type. Alphabetical order. That's not what I'm looking for.
See, in the error message it's saying just property on the flow, a decisions framework, design, flow engine, error. I don't know if that helps.
It does actually. Would you mind copying that and pasting it into the chat? Because that'll tell me where I'm exactly where I need to find it. Or where you would need to find it. I could show you, I guess, how to get there.
just had a screenshot of it, so give me 1 second here.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I got you. No worries. In here.
I threw it in chat.
Thank you. Because
Not the whole message, but I think that's the part.
that'll get us where we want to go, like where it's at is what I'm looking for. So change the flow at decisions framework, flow design, flow engine, rethrow exception. Okay. Let me do. Thank you for that. All right. This is the parameter is here in the error. Where to change adjust property on the flow at this flow engine. Yeah, so this is like a big sort of global feature, which is exactly what we're trying to fix. It's just a matter of like finding it. Flow, breakpoint flow. Are you hidden from me? Oh. Let me throw out a line really quick. Give me just a second.
Okay.
Because what it also could be, and my hunch now is that it might be something in like the like decisions install settings to break this sort of limit that's there.
Mhm.
If I can at least if I can at least get us in a direction where we could where you could go, I would consider that a win. So let me get this error back. Hold on. Paste. Oh, somebody has an answer. Let me see if they know exactly where, and we might be in good shape. Give me just a second. Pop this off for now. She's looking too, so you got two people on the case for you, hot on the trail, at least right now. Yeah, system folder, she says. That's where we just were. System. Let's see. Ah, it's on the flow level. Ah, okay. So I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Forgive me. I'll come back here. So I'm back on the flow, which you guys should be able to see now. It's going to be under. Ah, it's under the settings of the flow itself, not the step,
They're kind of
which is
cool.
why that error says it stops at flow. That's why. So under settings, stop recursion at 20K. Give that an outrageous number. You want to give it a shot now? Are you able to test it while you're on the call?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, go ahead and let me know if that gives you any luck. So I've made the mistake of asking for help, and now I have like a million people giving me the right answer, which is a good problem to have, you know?
Running. Different. I think that solved that recursion error. So
So we're in good shape.
I believe
It's
so.
still going, yeah, I'm assuming.
It's done,
Oh,
but
okay.
it erred on something else. So I think I just need to go fix something.
Ah, fair. A new hurdle to overcome.
Yes.
All right, I'll call that one done. I'm glad that we were able to get that sorted.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. And I know we're at the 30-minute mark, so we're at the halfway point, as good old Bon Jovi said. But is there anything else that we can address today? Mark, I see you join. I don't mean to call you out like that, but if you have anything, feel free. Carter, I threw a lifeline over at Jared too, just asking that question again. So we were able to get that variable and we're able to make the link work for the one page, but the new hurdle is how do we get that to persist to the second page? And is there a better way than using like a global variable or storing it in these tables? Or if that's the best way, then cool, but is there like another way that would be better? And then and having that also be unique per user. So I couldn't come in and see the selection that you made clicking on the same page if it's stored in that global variable. And I'm gonna just listening to learn. I love that. So I'm waiting on an answer for that. Oh. I don't know if you guys can hear me furiously typing or if it's just very silent, but I'm working on getting that answer too, just in case. One answer I'm getting is that that page variable that gets saved, Carter, you should be able to isolate that and pass it into that second page. I'm going to actually allow you to talk again, but you should be able to pass that into that second page, like isolate what that specific page variable is. So when you open the second page, is it like a whole new window? Is it like a new tab? Can you give me a little bit more detail?
It should be the same tab. Yeah, a new page on the same tab.
New page, same tab. So like you're looking at like a dashboard page and you are doing a flow run part, and maybe there's like a button on that page that you click and it just changes the view. So you're still in the same tab and everything, but your page has changed.
Correct.
And that second page is not getting that variable.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So we should be able to pass that. Okay, let me see.
And I might not have the filter change event set up correctly. So
Okay.
let me get that open. So the filter change event is on the report, correct?
Okay.
I just want to make sure, is that right?
The filter change event, yeah, like what you would select to tell the other component what record you're clicking on, right? Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
on the
you send
report.
data as filter change sort and you give it a source name.
Yeah, like FID or some kind
Yeah.
of unique identifier. Yeah.
And then that should update the URL. How do you
Yes.
give the value that the filter source change name is going to be?
So how do you?
Because I can give the name for the filter change source name. How do I configure the value that's going to be passed with that filter change source name?
How do you configure? Let me pull up just so I can visualize what you're saying here. Give me just a second.
Yeah.
Sometimes when a lot of words hit me, it's hard for me to discern. So I'm gonna pull this up again really quick. Let me see. So we have a filter change. I'm just gonna do some middle accounts. Boom, 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 something like that. So send data as filter change source here. So you're asking, how do we tell the other page, like the page grabbing this data, what this ID would mean right here?
Yes.
Okay. So normally that's something that you actually configure in like a filter or the runtime selection that you're doing. For example, I'm gonna set up a really quick page just so I could visualize this a bit easier for my benefit. So I have a report that I'm going to pick the report that I just did. And then an activity panel. Activity panel right here. So normally in the component, there's going to be a place where you would get an ID, or you would get a value from a selection bus. And that selection bus is that filter change ID that you've set up in your report. So you have to tell the component that you're trying to read that filter change source, that same matching ID, and that's how it'll know. Are you
Gotcha. So
saying
even if that folder activity panel was on the second page, it would still be able to access that selection bus name?
generally, if it's all still on, like, even if it's on a different page, if you're referencing like another report even, you should be able to grab that still, on even if it's on like a different page.
Gotcha. Let
You
me
should-
try that really fast.
If anything, because I know you can't share your screen. I know that can make these a little inconvenient, but if anything, if that doesn't work, I would just submit a ticket. That way your support person can look at you or see if there's a value, or maybe catch something that is missing, as is usually the case with me. So I'm always missing one simple thing. But I got some other feedback, so let me see what else they got for me. Communication, pages looking for. Are you using that set page variable step anywhere? I know you're using a flow run part, but how are you getting that variable?
I had a step page variable in at one point, but I took it out.
Okay. Okay. That might be your, if what we're doing now doesn't work, like if it doesn't translate between the two pages, that get page variable step is what I would go to next. Because that can be our consistent way of persisting the variable to and from. Because you can always pull it, because the flow that step runs on is its own session. Whether I run it, whether you run it, anybody, right? So if I include that in my flow run part, and I've selected a record, now I have my page variable. And because that's still in that same flow, even if I go to the next page, that page is referencing that the same flow, it'll reference that same variable every time. And that's how you can keep that variable persisting. If that helps.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna try
Let
and
me try that.
yeah. Can't insert images in Zoom, I don't think, can I? Oh, I am sharing my screen though. Ooh, here. So. Expected type. Yeah. And then this could just be like a subflow in your flow run part that you're running.
And that's going to reference, what is my V?
Whatever variable that you're
The filter change event.
exactly. Yeah, whatever your variable you're trying to make consistent between these two pages.
Yeah, that's how I have this set up.
Okay.
But it hasn't been passing through, and I can't, since I don't have a global debugger, I don't know how else to see what is getting passed through.
Are you just on like a version that doesn't have it, or are you
They've
don't have
locked it
access to
down
it?
for non-admin.
Oh, I understand. Dang. Right when you need it too. I'm sorry about that.
It is what it is.
This page variable step I think is the way. I know it's kind of where we started, but I do think this is the right track. Saves you the trouble of having to make all these extra global pieces and these database tables and everything like that. Because if you could pass this through into that flow run part flow that's showing up on the page, this variable becomes something you can reference through the entire flow run part, whether it's on dashboard A or dashboard B. And that output would be what you would insert as part of the URL, whether it's on page A or page B.
Okay.
If it's the same, like on both of those pages, it's an open URL that you're using. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you should be able to pass. So what I'm thinking is that you should be able to pass that variable, that unique URL piece into both of those, as long as we're running on the same flow run part. That would be key.
What do you mean when you say running on the same flow run part?
So it's what you should be doing right now, if I'm not mistaken. So you have a flow run part on a page, on page 1 and page 2. Are they the same flow?
No. Page
Oh, they're not?
1 has a report and page 2 has a flow run part.
Oh, okay. So what it would be then is that whatever is selected on page 1 from that report gets passed into the flow run part of page 2. Yeah,
That's the goal, yes.
that's okay. So then it would be, so this, if we, I know this is super bare bones, but if the input of this flow was whatever that report value was, then getting this page variable and the output of this MyV or this page data, sorry, that's coming out, you should be able to have put into whatever your form is, like if it's showing another report or that specific page. And if it's referencing that variable, then now you can, whatever's in this form now, you can have, I think the page data was a string or something like that. So now you can pass this into the form. Now you can pass that page data into the form, and now the whole form can reference that one input, and you can paste it anywhere that you want to. So as long as that report, like sending that filter change source, you send that filter change source as the input to this flow, then now you can reference all the data that you want to. Now it'll show all that reporting data in theory.
Okay.
Does that make
and
is that
sending sending the filter change source into the report is that input?
Sending the filter change into
So as
the
long as you
report.
send the filter change source as an input to the flow run part.
Yes. Like sending that record data, because that's how you're going to get that variable that page 2 is going to know, oh, this is the right record that we're supposed to be looking at.
Okay. And if the variable set up on the filter run part isn't passing between, plan B is probably the best option.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be,
Sounds good.
that's where I would bet is the disconnect, is somehow that filter change isn't being passed into the flow run part. And if you can crack that, then I think you're in business.
All right. Well, appreciate the help.
Yeah, no worries, Carter. Thank you. Let me see. It looks like Peyton, you have an update for me. The error that I started getting after updating the recursion is on a Python tool. Okay, an error has occurred trying to start the process, running the Python executable at the directory where it stays. The file name or extension is too long. It's something that could be affected by changing the recursion amount. Let me read this again. An error occurred trying to start the process within this directory because the extension name extension is too long. Not unless that, I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think it affects, the recursion doesn't affect this, Peyton, is because it's the extension name itself, which theoretically would be different for every record that would be coming through. So that shouldn't, I don't think that's what is affecting it. But you didn't see it when you ran it earlier. I wonder if this is just like the next, you didn't see it earlier because it was just the next piece that needed to run. Hold on one second, let me. What are your thoughts? Like, have you, that's just why I don't think it would be specifically there. It looks like it's something to do with the Python executable. Are you running any?
It's just that it's before that loop. So it was running before we updated the recursion.
I see. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So the step comes before that loop comes up. So now, okay.
Meaning it got to that step in the first place, so it did run earlier.
Okay. Have you tried changing the recursion limit to some like a smaller number? I think we put it at like some crazy ridiculous number. If you put it at
Yeah.
something more reasonable, like maybe 100,000 or 1,000,000.
I put it at 200,000.
Okay, and it still gives you this here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. I'll be honest with you. I have a gray area when it comes to the Python module. However, when you change the recursion limit back to 20,000, does it give you the error again?
Let me test.
Yeah. Still the same thing?
It's gonna take a minute or two to
Oh,
finish.
we'll let it cook for a little bit then. No worries. Just let me know as soon as it pops up.
Of course. I see why it didn't get there before. The recursion was on a different for loop I have.
No, no. Okay. So it's just a different flow altogether.
Yeah,
Okay.
I might just have to do some messing around with it.
Okay. Yeah, in that case too, I'll stick with what I said earlier. I don't think the recursion limit would affect that step specifically.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
it is anymore either.
Okay, good. Good. All right. I know we got about 9 minutes left. I'm happy to close here if you are all too. If anything comes up again, I know we don't have a lunch and learn tomorrow, but everybody's always welcome to come back on Monday or reach out via support, and we can address things. And sometimes that route can be simpler because you can show us or screen share. I know that that's not a luxury here, but I'm glad we were able to at least tackle a couple of things today and address some of these issues. But for now, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I'll go ahead and close this out now. Thank you, everybody.